Hello, Suzanne from Star Photography here again. I am going to edit in Lightroom and then export and edit in Photoshop an image that wasn't taken by me. It was taken by one of my students. And so I wanted to kind of educate on how to fix some issues that she's having with color and then editing some blotchy skin to get consistency. So on here, I have imported the raw file into Lightroom, and I'm going to do some basic editing on here just to kind of get my colors and my brightness and everything the way that I want it. So the first thing that I asked her is what light is she using? She's using an Alien Bee, so her temperature, which is the Kelvin that she's using on her camera, is right about where it needs to be for an Alien Bee, 53 to 5500, depending on the camera model that you have for Kelvin. Um, the thing that I'm seeing with this is there's a lot of magenta in this image, so I'm going to bring down the tint some to bring the magenta out, and I got it to about 24, 25 that I like, where it looks a lot better, more yellow in the image. So she must have some camera settings in there that she needs to look at as far as that's making it magenta. It could be the sRGB that's not set up correctly. So I'm going to have her take a look at that. I am going to brighten it up just a tad, not too much, just a little bit more. So like just adding plus 24. I'm going to pull out some of the highlights just a little bit, bring up the shadows some, and then bring up the black some just to kind of give it a little bit more brightness in the image. And we can play with it once we get in Photoshop as well. So I'm happy with the overall image at this point. And I'm going to export my image. Okay, while that's exporting, I'll pull up my Photoshop and it should be out pretty quickly because it's just one image. Go, we're importing right here. Okay, so here's my exported full resolution JPEG image. I made sure that I exported into a large file. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and the very first thing I'm going to do when I go in to edit is I want to fix my skin first, get rid of all of the blemishes, and then I will start to work on color, and then I will smooth. So I'm going to use the healing brush here. I do edit with a Wacom bamboo tablet. So my control over using this particular brush is going to be much higher than if you're using a mouse. So I highly recommend you purchasing a tablet of some sort to edit on. This just happens to be the one that I tried. They have a pro model as well as there are other brands that you can purchase that will work just as well. So this is the first thing that I'm going to do in this image is to get rid of all these little spots. The face doesn't look too bad now. It's blotchy, so we're going to have to fix that. I'm just getting rid of the more noticeable ones that once I start blurring, it's going to look kind of funky. Um, And sometimes looking at an image up close, you don't realize some of the spots that you may have missed. So I always kind of zoom in and zoom out to kind of see if I have missed anything that um, I didn't see while I was up close. So it's looking pretty good at this point. Not seeing anything that's too crazy. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the red that's in the baby. So I'm going to use the Paint on Red Baby Action. And I'm going to remove the main redness. I'm not going to remove too much from the face. It's just going to be like these parts here that are like super, super red. And I'm going to do it at a very, very low opacity, so that I'm just taking the red out of these particular areas because there's a lot of magenta, as well as different color reds in here. So I just want to take out this here, these spots, and then I'll come back with a different red remover and remove the other ones. There's some color cast going on too from this orange fluff, which does happen. Okay, again, I like to pull it out and look at it and kind of see what it looks like. Looks like there's a little red down in here. It's more magenta than red, but I can pull a little bit of red out here, and then I'll come back with my magenta brush. So it looks pretty good. I tend to always flatten my image, so I'm working from a full straight image so I can play with it, but you know, you don't have to. It's just kind of how I do it. All right, so I'm going to use the No More Purple Hands and Feet, which will remove my magenta. Make this brush a little bigger. This is about as high as the magenta goes, so there is red left in here. This is where it's not taking it all out. It's because it's red. So I'll come back with a different color remover and remove that. But you can see that I've just removed a little bit of the magenta. So there's a little magenta in the cheek here. And it takes a while for you to be able to actually see the different colors. A calibrated screen is definitely something you need to have in order to view them, be able to actually really see the colors well, and edit a good skin. So now I'm going to use the KMP No More Red Hands and Feet. I use it all over the face because it has a yellow tint to it, which keeps the consistency and the skin tone as well. So I just like it. Since baby's skin tone is typically on the yellow side anyways, it seems to match well. And if you do a little bit too much yellow, you can always put some blue back in, which will pull the yellow right out. Learning to play with the colors is just something that has helped me along. Okay, looking much better. I still see a little magenta down in here in the arm, so I'm going to pull a little bit more out, but for the most part, you can see I took some more red out and put some yellow in, so it's looking much better. as far as that goes. So I'm gonna run the No More Purple Hands and Feet one more time and pull a little bit more out of that arm. And I'll do it from back here so I can kind of see what I'm doing. You can tell much, much better. Not so purple. And this happens too because she's probably cutting off a little bit of blood circulation there, but it's not too bad where, her arm's going to fall off or anything. I'll just paint it on here. Sometimes I paint just to see if my eyes aren't seeing what I need to see, and then I'll do this. And if I like it, I'll leave it. If I don't like it, then I'll get rid of it. But it seems like it works pretty good, so I think I'll keep it. So now that I've gotten here, she looks really good. Her skin is much more level than it was. I'll show you the beginning picture again, and then where we're at now. So pulling out just the colors in particular where you see them is going to make a big difference as well. So now I'm going to go in, and I don't see too many other blemishes that I need to really get rid of. So I'll come in with my my skin blur here. All right, and I always do 100% opacity and then I can play with it. So I'll just blur the skin. Sometimes I'll just go right over the eyes and then erase, but she has some defined eyebrows. Once you kind of start to blur too, you'll notice colors that'll blur together that you might need to go back and fix again. So you can definitely go back and work on some more colors after you blur. See, I see some spots here that I'll want to blend a little better, so I can go back and use my healing tool to do that. I don't want it too blurred by her cheek because I lose this defined line here. So I'm going to remove just a little bit and paint it back on her cheek. It can stay on there. So, and you can see with and without blur. And I don't like to use a lot, I just like to kind of soften their skin up just a tad. So I tend to always bring it down just a little bit. So now there's just a couple spots that need to come off. I can tell over here. And now that it's blurred and my color is all correct as I do this, it's going to blend it much nicer. So. Looking pretty good here. I'm liking the way it looks. I'm not seeing too much in here that really needs to be corrected. And if you want to be extremely nitpicky, you can. When I would go to print, I would go back in and edit just a little bit. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. Sometimes I like to just remove one more red layer, which takes the red away from every single thing, just to kind of see if there is a little bit more red that I want to remove. She is still a bit red in the face, so I may remove just a little bit more red. Just depends on how warm you like your images. It's all personal preference at this point. So I like the way it looks. It looks really good. So from the beginning